just to start at the beginning, we got a pair of Allen Edmonds. I'd call them kind of a oxblood blucher. I don't know what model this is. Let's find out. This is the Leeds, Allen Edmond Leeds. Great shoe. Could wear it with like flannels, jeans, whatever. These are pretty small, so these shoe trees are snug as a bug. Get down in there. You always want to shine your shoes with shoe trees in them. Helps fill out these creases. As you can see now, the creasing is less apparent. There's shoe trees in there. What I'm going to be using is a couple different products. So kind of main steps to shining shoes is a conditioner, which we have the Saphir Renovateur, which is good stuff. Alternatively, I'm out of it at the moment, but what I really like using is Saphir Napa Leather Balm, which is what I prefer to use. And then second, we have our cream polish. And the point, actually, to go back slightly, the point of the conditioner is to help nourish the leather and just keep the leather hydrated and healthy. The point of the cream polish, which is the next thing we'll get to, is to help repigment the leather and to keep the color vibrant and to provide an overall glow to the shoe. It's not going to give your shoe a mirror shine, or at least I've never been able to with just cream polish. I've heard some people have tried. But what we're going to be using is the Hermes Red Pomander Cream Polish from Saphir. And then to finish it off, because I'm pretty sure this person wants a mirror shine, I should probably check before I do it. I have his order, but the part that says what he ordered is cut off. Thanks, Josh. Yeah, I don't know what he ordered. I'm going to assume he ordered a mirror shine, and I can always take it off later.
Nice.
Now, for the mirror shine, we're going to be using Saphir Pat Deluxe wax polish. This stuff is great. You don't need mirror gloss. It's for noobs. I'm just kidding. I just prefer the Pat Deluxe.
Got it.
So we're going to be using burgundy because one, Saphir doesn't make Hermes Red wax polish for whatever reason. But I think it'll also give it a little depth of color. Yeah. And then as far as tools I'm going to be using, I have my nifty little water dispenser. I have my horsehair brush, Wellington horsehair brush from KirbyAllison.com. Only not on Amazon. Amazon can suck it. So that's what we're going to be using. And then also the brand new Kirby Allison High Shine Chamois, which is, in my opinion, way better than the old one. They're both still available, but this one is freaking amazing. Levi, if you haven't gotten it already, you should get it. I highly recommend. Or to anyone, for that matter. But do you want me to just get into my process? What do you want me to do?
If you want, you could start. I'll ask you questions as you go along. So you can go ahead and start.
I'm going to do one of them, and I'm going to leave the other one so that way you can see the clear before and after. So this is, these are not in bad shape at all. The soles aren't that bad. The heels are, in good shape. You can tell the color. For one, I think Allen Edmonds' color is a little weak, so we're going to make these even better. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to see if I can flip my camera around. Here, let's see here. Well, let me do that. Okay. So this is what they look like. There's no shine. They look a little dry. Nothing special at all. I mean, just kind of stock, Allen Edmonds, which is fine. They make a good shoe. You can get them on sale for a song. But we're going to make these some spicy bluchers versus bland. So step one, we are going to use some Renovateur. So we got the Renovateur right here.
Got it. So question right out of the gate. I see you're using Saphir. Is that a personal preference, or is that just a really good product to use for this?
There's, this is what we sell. And I know some people like other products, and I respect that. But at the same time, I don't. because I don't get any money from that. So I really recommend Saphir. I have tried other products and they're fine, but Saphir is the way. So Saphir Renovatour is really good. The only thing I don't like about it is that it has mink oil and it can get kind of greasy if you use too much. So that said, you only want to use a little bit. So I just have like a single little dab on my finger. And what I do is I just pat it on around the shoe. You don't need a lot. And then you just kind of spread it around and work it into the leather.
So you dab it to make it look like it has like the chicken pox, you could say. And then you do a little circle rubs around it. Okay. I'm trying to describe it so that way the audio listeners could paint a picture in their mind.
So your massage, it's like putting a moisturizer on your skin. You know, you're working it into the skin. That's why I don't like using a dauber. Like, do you apply moisturizer to your face with a cloth or with a brush? No. Use your fingers because the heat helps it absorb and you work it into the leather or your skin or whatever. Yeah. That's my best analogy for you. Yeah. Okay. So you work that in, and you also want to get it on the tongue. So work it in there. I can tell these are a little faded / kind of weak color, which the Hermes red will help make it a lot. I should have used more words there versus a sound effect in my hands since I couldn't see that. Yeah, so we worked that in there, worked the Renovatour into the leather. So now we want to let it dry before buffing it off. Yeah.
How long do you let it dry?
5 minutes or so. So I'm gonna apply Renovatour. My original plan's already going out the window. I am gonna keep working on the other one because I realized it wouldn't be very time efficient to just leave one of them not doing anything. So
yeah. So why the horsehair brush?
You don't have to use a horsehair brush. Good question. So I really also like using a pig bristle brush. And the reason for that is it has a really stiff bristle. And I feel like it can help. It definitely works well for textured leathers like pebble grain. Helps get stuff out of the pebble. They both work really well, but those are pretty much the only two options in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I noticed that when I do that, I tend to skip the tongue just because I have to admit I get a little lazy and I don't take off the shoelaces. So I try to get it as close as I can to the shoelaces around it, so that way it doesn't look like a huge difference. But yeah.
With a shoe like this, it's more obvious, but on Oxford, you know, who's gonna know? You, yourself, and yeah, that's about it. So I'm just working it into the leather while the other shoe dries.
Okay. I see.
Now, is there, like you said, is there such thing as too much of that?
Oh yeah. Okay. So what happens when you put too much is the leather will feel tacky or almost greasy, and it's harder to get a good shine.
Okay.
So
and
you want to. Yeah.
That was just something I was going to reiterate. That's one of those beginner mistakes that I made is, too much, especially of that conditioner, whether you're using Saphir or you're using, the big one that people really pushed on me was like Big Four.
Yeah.
And, everyone that I was listening to, and it was a mistake, but was, you can't over condition. There's no such thing as over conditioning. And I went through, a tin of that Saphir Renovatour. I had 6 pairs of shoes, and I went through a tin of that in like a month and a half. And I could not get my shoes to mirror shine. They were sticky. They were like attracting dirt and dust. I brushed them for hours and never achieved anything. And that's a huge thing. That's what Caleb said there, as far as you do not need a lot. Like you cannot stress that enough, especially when you're using something like Saphir.
Mm-hmm.
It's expensive first off, but you don't want to drown the shoe, and you'll feel a difference in what a properly like hydrated leather shoe feels like versus either dry or that oversaturation. And I'm not trying to interject here too much, Caleb. That was one for me as a beginner that, it really changed the whole process when I learned what a properly hydrated shoe felt like and how that ties into then the rest of the process, especially carrying it to that mere shine point.
And you're totally right. Jim, our cobbler, and we're talking about this the other day, and he was just kind of, saying like, I'm so tired of getting these shoes and they're all overhydrated with this mink oil, because that's what the kind of active ingredient in Saphir Renovatour is, or it's one of them. It's kind of the reason shoes get greasy, and it's why I don't always use it, especially on a shoe that doesn't really need a lot of conditioning. Like if a shoe is really, really dry, then the Saphir Renovatour is good. But if your shoe just needs kind of light conditioning, this is overkill. And I would prefer to use the Napa Leather Balm because it doesn't have an oil in it. It has the jojoba oil in it, which is lighter, which I really prefer to it. It doesn't have any waxes either, so you're not providing any shine at that step. But I feel like it just is a pure conditioner. It's also more delicate. Some people have reported issues with the Renovatour with patinaed shoes. That's usually on shoes that have bad patinas.
Right. Yep.
Like shoes that will not be named because we're going to be nice today. But certain shoes that have kind of weak patinas, like water-based patinas, can have negative reactions with Renovatour. But on a good patina with alcohol-based leather dyes, shouldn't be an issue. And one thing, now we're back to the first shoe we were working on. You can feel on the leather when it's dry. You just kind of rub your fingers over it, and if you don't have really much kind of sticking, you're probably good to go. So we're gonna get to that. So we're going to brush her down vigorously.
And while he's brushing, another thing that he made a good comment on is Jim. Just a quick little plug for Jim. He is an incredible cobbler. He's the only guy that works on my shoes. As far as resoles or things like that, you just can't beat Jim. I don't know if you're comfortable, Javi, but I can throw out his Instagram handle.
Go for it.
It's America's Cobbler, and he really is incredible. And he, send your shoes with Kirby through their shoe renovation is you just can't beat it. I mean, the quality of his work, the level of his work, it's incredible.
He's a boss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. He's also a third generation cobbler. He's the president of the American Cobbler Association. I don't know if that's the correct acronym, actually, but essentially that. He is like the judge of the world competition for like cobblers. He's a boss. He's awesome.
And
also,
is he not? Is he the U.S. rep for JR Leathers as well?
I don't know about
correct?
that.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I'll ask him. I just sent some shoes off to him, actually a bunch of pairs. I had a pair I'd bought and it had a really pitched heel. It was this.
Whoa.
And I didn't like them. I was like, no, we got to fix this. I'm never going to wear them. Anyway, he's great. But back to the cream polish. Now we've buffed off the Renovateur. We're going to use the Hermes red cream polish. So again, just like with the cream polish or the conditioner, you don't need a lot. A little goes a long way, because if you start to put like a bunch, like I just taking a bunch of cream polish, if you were to rub this all over the shoe, it would take forever for it to dry, and you would also just have such a hard time buffing it off. So really, you don't need much. So I'm gonna just take off like most of that. So we're just gonna take a little bit, and just like with the conditioner, just work it into the leather, circular motions, like so. And the cool thing about the cream polish is that it will also further condition the leather, since it has the shea butter in it, which is also good stuff. And it also has kind of those light layers of beeswax in it, which will start to kind of build that shine.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, Caleb, do you mind if I ask you a question regarding the cream polish?
Bro. Yeah, man.
All right, so I had something happen. I pulled out my mid-brown cream polish the other day.
Yeah.
And noticed that I had left the lid, slightly ajar.
Uh-oh.
And it's dried out. I mean, you and I both know how that cream polish typically feels.
Yep.
And the I don't know how to describe it, but the slipperiness wasn't there. It was much firmer.
Yep.
Is there a way to bring that back? I'm assuming that's probably the solvents. Is there a way to bring that back, or is that kind of just at the point where I need to buy a new mid-brown cream?
No, you can still use it. What you need to do is, sometimes if you leave the cream polish open, it'll develop a film over that layer, and you just need to bust it up with your finger, kind of smoosh it all around. And you can use cream polish if it's still kind of stiff. Like, I actually like that that consistency.
Okay.
So I would just try and kind of bust it up a little bit and kind of rework it into a cream almost, because sometimes it's just like a little film over the cream polish.
Sure. I mean, it still worked. It still did the job. I just didn't know, because I'm assuming that's the evaporation of the solvents, similar to like the wax polish, how it kind of cracks and gets dry. And I just didn't know if that would still absorb into the leather the same way, or if I was just putting like a surface on top of the leather.
No, it'll definitely still work.
Right on.
Yeah, man.
All right, Caleb. So how much does that Saphir thing run for currently?
So actually, all these products cost about the same amount.
Okay.
The Renovateur is about $21. Pomadier cream polish is about $20, and the large can of wax polish is about $20.
Okay. Pretty good.
They're all roughly the same. I think it's, give or take like $1.50, something like that.
Sure.
Yeah. So now we're gonna buff off the Renovateur off the second shoe that we applied cream to. Just gonna work that off.
How many of these do you do per week? Because I know I would say daily, but with school and everything, I'm sure it's not the same number. So I would say weekly.
Fluctuates wildly.
Okay.
Yeah, there's zero consistency. There could be one week where I had no shoes. There could be another week where I have 30 shoes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's no consistency whatsoever. Lately, I would say probably 10 a week, which is good, really good. But actually, this is a good transition to talking about something else. Or unless you want me to.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Well, I'm still doing shoe shining, still collaborating with Kirby on the shoe shining. I'm now working at another menswear shop here in town, which is Dallas, for those of you who don't know. But the shop's called Uncommon Man. We specialize in custom clothing. We also have ready-to-wear clothing. But it's really excellent stuff, and I don't think anything I could say could do it justice. I would really recommend checking out their Instagram, which is Uncommon Man. Either that or it's Shop Uncommon Man. That might be the website. But it's really excellent stuff. The quality is superb. It's on Keton level of quality. It's really the height of menswear quality. So I'm super excited to be working with them.
Got it. What's the website again?
Uncommon Man.
Got it. All right. That way I could post it in the video and in the comments. So yeah. There you go. You point to one corner of the video, it's right here, and then click here. Like how you see those YouTube videos. There you go.
Actually, I'm gonna switch to the pig bristle brush. Sometimes when I'm getting a little bit of drag, like if I applied a little bit too much cream, this will kind of help bust it up a little bit better since it has more stiffness to it. I bought a pair of Cleverly Chelsea boots.
Very nice.
Yeah, the problem is they have a really low toe puff. So like this height, is like too low, and my big toe doesn't really have enough room. So
that's disappointing.
It is. They're really, really freaking nice. They're in my trunk right now because I need to go take pictures of them. They're really nice. I got a really pretty good deal on them they're brand new. They're from the Kingsman, like the movie, spy series. They're that brand that they had made and developed for MrPorter.com. But I got them off eBay. Oh, wow. They're brand new. So if you're out there listening to this and you're a size like 11 or a 10 UK, hit me up. I'll give you a good deal. Now we're going to buff off the cream polish. So got my horsehair brush, got my shoe. It's been at least 5 minutes now. Yes, so now we got cream polish buffed off. Color's a little more vibrant now. I don't know if it really comes through on the camera, to be honest, but the lighting's pretty bad here. But now we got our wax polish. This is the fun part. This is where people get all like, oh, mirror shine. So got my burgundy mirror shine or Pat Deluxe wax polish. It's pretty new can, pretty wet still. Over time this will kind of dry out and whatnot. So getting some of that on the fingers and gonna work that in to the toe. And a lot of people used to ask me, or still ask me, how do I know where to put my shine? Because obviously you don't want to put a ton of wax on an area that's going to flex. So you can see here where that crease line is, even though there's no cap toe. So I'm not going to put a whole lot of wax past this line. But then you can also put wax on the heel because there's hard countering back there too.
Got it.
And with my luck, actually, I'm going to check before I go full Rambo on this shoe. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to check if this person actually ordered a mirror shine. Because there's a small chance that they didn't. And that would be kind of a waste of my time.
Sounds good. question for you, Levi. What would have happened if somebody would have put that on a crease? Does it crack or would it just rub off and look weird?
Well, it really depends. You know, if you take it to that full mirror shine level like Caleb's about to do, on a crease point like that, it'll crack. And
Okay.
end of the day, you're using wax. So you know that white waxy, think of like candle wax when it crumbles. That's what you're gonna see. And a lot of guys, especially when they're just starting out, they overshine areas. And when you see the shoes, you'll see these little like real fine spider cracks and white residue. What that is it's just they overshined an area that shouldn't be shined. And as they're walking, that wax is chipping away. Now that's if you take it to that full level. Something that I do, especially when I'm kind of rebuilding a shine, kind of like what Caleb has been doing here. You start with the conditioning, you do the cream with the pigment, then you work into that mirror shine. I always do one layer of that wax polish across the entire shoe. Now, not heavily, and I don't know, Caleb might have a different opinion on this, but I always do just one light layer, just as that it's kind of a protective barrier as far as moistures and things. And as long as you just brush that, and you're not taking that to that high shine or that mirror shine, you really won't have much of an issue there. But the pro is back, so we'll see what he says about that.
That's what she said. I'm just kidding. So they didn't order a mirror shine, so we'll have to do a mirror shine on a different pair. Actually, I do have another pair we can do a mirror shine on. They want a light shine on the toe, so I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to put a little bit of wax over the whole shoe, just a little bit, and a little extra on the toe and heel. One thing I don't want to say contradict Levi on, but it's to me, it's like a myth thing, like a shoe myth thing, that the wax provides waterproofing. Because you would have your toe cap, if you have a mirror shine, will be waterproof, but putting a layer or two over the whole shoe, it's not going to really waterproof it.
No, I would agree. It just, I guess, and you're right, it's kind of a myth. I just see it as putting a layer of something between the leather and whatever's coming to hit it.
That's fair. And I think the best thing about a mirror shine is that you really do get like a blunt force protection, because if you have like a good mirror shine, you have a lot of layers of wax built up. And even if you absolutely ate it on a curb, the leather itself would be protected. Now your mirror shine would be toast, but the actual leather under it would be fine. So yeah, we're not going to put a bunch of wax on here like we would for a mirror shine, but we're gonna do a mirror shine if you want.
Sure.
What you and Levi were talking about is like an equivalent to a screen protector to a iPhone, where if you were to drop it, the screen protector would break and be all busted, but not the actual screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Javi, the last time we spoke, that was one of the reasons I stated I do that shining. When I'm out in the cemetery taking a service out, if I'm helping with the casket as a spur of the moment pallbearer, people, at that time they're not worried about where their feet are. They're not worried about what's going on. They're pretty focused on the task at hand. And I can't tell you how many times I've had, that my shoe gets kicked or whatever. Someone straight up steps on the toe cap of the shoe. And of course, it's not going to stop full pressure of, destroying that toe puff. But whereas the leather not being scratched, like Caleb said, your mirror shine is crap. It's gone. It's spider cracked and everything else, but it really does protect the shoe. You know, and I've got pictures of that on my Instagram of, you know, like a before and after of how horrible the shoe looks. Then once I get all the wax pulled off, it looks fine underneath. So it's kind of neat. It serves a multi-purpose besides just having really shiny shoes.
Yeah. So, funny counter question to that. It's more of a snark from my end. Is if that were to happen on one of your shoes, do you even it out with on the other one? So that way it's not like one shiny, one busted.
Well, so I'm weird and maybe even a little like OCD or anal retentive or whatever. But if I have to pull the wax off of one, I'm doing both.
Sorry, I'm not talking. I got in the shine zone, which is a zone of silence. But actually, as you can see, our shine has come up considerably.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I'm just doing my shine. I'm doing it a little bit all over just because I've only put one layer on the whole shoe, but a little bit more on the toe and heel. But then I'm going to take my goat hair brush, wherever that is, and then buff it off.
So you have pig hair, horse hair, and goat hair.
Yeah, the goat hair is awesome and underrated.
All right.
What purpose does that serve? The same purpose as the pig hair and your horse hair, or is there a specific purpose on that one over the others?
Yes. So the purpose of the goat hair is a buffing or like a final buff because it's really soft. So it's like a soft cloth in a brush form is like how I think about it. Yeah, it's probably not a really good comparison to be honest, but yeah. So now you can see. Here, let me do a little flippy flip here.
I see.
So we got our shine shoe, and then we have our unshined shoe. So you can see quite the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that only took like not much time at all. And obviously we could get that mirror shine much higher. That's not really a mirror shine. So now, actually, I'm going to show you a little trick that Jim showed me, which is after you have the cream polish on, then you just apply the wax polish over it before buffing it. So we haven't buffed off the cream polish, but now I'm going to apply a layer of wax to the whole shoe.
So you had 2 layers before buffing it instead of 1 layer buff, next layer, then buff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct. I don't know if it makes a huge difference, but we're going to do a little A/B test here.
All right.
Some Mythbusters thing going on.
Exactly. Less explosions, though.
Unfortunately, I'm all for explosions and fireworks, but yeah, less.
I could light some wax on fire, but that's the best I can do. Oh, wait, I do have lighter. That is so funny. No joke. Hold on, let me reach back here.
Just light one of those boxes on
on
fire.
I have lighter fluid here for whatever reason. I don't know where that came from, but we're just going to put that to the side for later use. I switched pairs now. I have these black Park Avenues that are absolutely like toasted. I mean, they were completely freaked up. They're way back. I'll send you all pictures later.
Sure.
They were like bubbling with salt damage, like just completely effed. Just anyway, Jim did this nice resole, fresh heels after I'd shined them, but he didn't feel like shining them up like I did again. So he sent them back to me. So this has been quite the long process for these shoes, but they are going to look like $1 million, maybe $1.5 million, or at least 30.
Now, is Jim from your area, or is he located somewhere else?
He's in Lakeland, Florida. So
okay.
we have met before. He came to Dallas once for some filming here at the Kirby Allison Sovereign Grade offices. That we don't call them Sovereign Grade office. I just call them that just now, just because I thought it'd be funny.
Oh, so I like that. That was like a bougie level right there.
The Sovereign Grade offices.
Now, Caleb, what do you think? What would be? I'm trying to think how to question this. Do you think Allen Edmond would be the most common shoe that you see come through the office there?
Yep. Hands down.
It?
Oh yeah, no question. I was talking to Preston Soto, the Elegant Oxford.
Yeah.
And he told me he literally only gets Allen Edmonds. Now I would say it's a split, but he told me he only gets Allen Edmonds, which was kind of shocking. But I would say 40% are Allen Edmonds, maybe 50, and then a spattering of other brands. Actually, a lot of Corthay, a lot of Corthay, which is fun to work on. Then it's just random from there. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason at that point, but maybe a good bit of Alden's too.
And then, do you share the opinion of many that Allen Edmonds is a little bit overrated, especially in today's market?
Yeah, I mean, they're fine. I'm not going to hate on them because, I mean, I get why they're popular. I mean, you can go try them on in about any city.
Sure.
You can't go try on TLBs in the US.
Right.
And for a lot of guys, that's a deal breaker. Like, I can't try them on. Like, why would I chunk down $400, $450 for a pair of shoes I've never tried on? I might have to return. I don't know how the sizing is. What's with this European? Right. So I think that's where a lot of guys get hung up on other brands and why they go with Allen Edmonds. And a lot of guys prefer the kind of more conservative look. There's actually, it's a bummer to me that there's not like a Crockett and Jones equivalent here in the US, you know, making that kind of high level or kind of finer detailing level here in the US. Like, you got Alden, but that's like one step above Allen Edmonds at this point.
Right.
It's not like head and shoulders better. I think the designs and the aesthetic is so much better, in my opinion. And the fact that they've kind of stuck to their guns, whereas Allen Edmonds seems to be really swayed lately by trends, as you can see by their like new custom sneaker line. Shows kind of a disconnect with their customer base versus trying to, I don't know.
They're kind of following Cole Haan's footsteps a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Them and Magnani, they're kind of trying to go that way, which I get because those brands are successful, but they're not that brand.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm definitely not hating on them. They make up a majority of my collection right now for the same reason. That, and you can find them on eBay and Poshmark and all kinds of things dirt cheap if you're willing to put some elbow grease into it.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know. I know a lot of guys, especially as you find yourself getting more and more like niche market in the shoe world. Yeah, you find more and more people that are just hating on Allen Edmonds, especially recently with the new acquisition and everything. I just didn't know what your take was on all of that.
I don't really hate on any brands unless there's like a really good reason to hate on them. And
because everything serves its purpose.
Yeah, I mean, like,
right.
Does that include Stacey Adams?
So again,
Does that include Stacey Adams?
nah, they can go burn in the fire. I'm just kidding.
Hey, now their vintage stuff is pretty killer.
You know, like
Yeah,
even vintage Cole Haans are good. Like,
They are.
Like I had a pair and I really regret selling them. They're really cool, like horse bit loafers. But now, the company Uncommon Man that I'm working at, we work with Stefano Bemmer, is our primary, like, we'll do like custom shoes for folks, but we don't stock any shoes, or we do. It's the I can never pronounce it, and I feel like an idiot. They make the Sagan loafer. It's like those really unconstructed, like Belgian style loafers.
Yeah.
But their name is impossible to pronounce.
Where are they based from?
Where are they made? They're made in England, I think. It's like Boudin and Long or something like that.
Never heard of them.
They're really freaking comfortable. They're like wearing butter because there's no break in at all.
That's the Belgian style loafer you're talking about.
Yeah.
You got to have the right personality to pull off a Belgian loafer, though.
Well, they're not really a Belgian loafer. Like they don't have the little bow.
Okay.
If you go to Uncommon Man's Instagram, you can like find a picture. I'll probably get a pair just because I work there now. And they're really comfortable. And I love me some loafers. For a long time, I couldn't find any loafers that fit, but it just seems that I was looking in all the wrong places. But now I've found quite a few loafers that I like. Like I'm wearing loafers right now. These polo ones I got from a friend. These are like vintage polo. And they got just a really nice, simple toe shape, nice, simple color. And they get the job done. They're really comfortable. They're Blake stitched. You don't need a Goodyear welted loafer. I mean, it serves its place, you know.
Sure.
To get it done. Anyway, doing a little mirror shine on these. I didn't put enough wax on, I don't think. It's going a little slow.
Question for you both. Do you guys prefer a leather sole over a rubber sole?
I don't know that I have a preference. I feel like both serve their purpose, and it depends on what you're using them for. If you would have asked me a year and a half ago, I would have said leather soles, but that was just because I was pompous and a tool. To be quite honest with you, you know, rubber soles were for the plebs, but no, I feel like there's definitely purpose. Like one of my favorite pair of shoes, and it was actually a pair that I even talked to Caleb about before I bought, was a pair of Loke Chukka boots, and they've got a day-night sole, and they're one of the most comfortable shoes I own. But you know, of course, they serve a different purpose than, you know, a pair of black Oxfords or something. So for me, it depends on what you're using them for.
Yeah, I'll just kind of echo you there because I'm going to say the same thing. It's like if you have a pair of Chukka boots or a pair of work boots, a leather sole is completely impractical. But if you want a Captain Oxford, a rubber sole is just going to look wrong in most cases. There's certain shoes it could go either way. Like for this shoe, you know, being a Blucher, you could put a thin rubber sole on it and it would look just fine, but it has a leather sole and it works perfectly well too. Here's a good example of a fail. These poor son's guns right here. These are, I don't know what they are, but they have a rubber sole and they're kind of sad. God, what is wrong with these? Well, that's a problem for another day. Right now.
I noticed that for me, I like both rubber and leather because I live up north, so when it rains, especially in the winter, you don't know if it's actually rain or if it's rain and ice. And if you're wearing leather, you might tumble and fall and embarrass yourself in front of everybody. So, especially when I work in Chicago, I have my Magnani leather like those sneaker shoes type of deal, just so that way it's more easier for me to walk from the train station to my job. That's if I take the train. But I noticed that for me, if I have the brown colored shoes, I'm personally not a fan if the leather sole or even the rubber sole is black. I don't know if you guys have the same thought process on that, only because it's too much of a contrast.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
totally agree.
Because you showed that those wingtips right there, and it looked like a light tannish color with like this dark rubber sole, and it stood out to me, but wasn't sure if you guys shared the same thought.
I would say in 9 out of 10 cases, I would agree. And if I wasn't in the middle of moving and changing places, I would show you the pair that I'm talking about. But I've got a pair of dark brown quarter brogues, and the sole. I've actually kept those black. Of course, that outer side, and it to me is better than trying to do the brown. But that's, like I said, 9 out of 10. I would agree, but that's a specific pair that I feel like the black is just more suited to the shoe.
Understandable. All right. So as Caleb is shining that pair right there, we'll do a little quick, what do you call it here? Family Feud. Um, yeah, right. So we'll start with you, Caleb, and I'll put the little theme song here. Let's see here. All right. So you won't hear it, but in the edit, you'll hear the actual music. All right. So I have a question for you, Caleb. It is 6 answers on the board. First question. Name a reason you might not leave your house all day.
Name a reason I might not read. Okay. Corona.
Let's see if that's in here. I'll put it. I'll put it under sickness. So, all right, it's there. You got 1 out of 6 right. You got the first answer, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth left.
Hangover, or does that count as sickness?
I would count that as sickness. There is another answer that I think could, but I would label it under sickness. So I'll do the little red X. All right. There's one. You got 2 answers. What do you call that left? I'll read you the question one more time. Name a reason you might not leave your house all day.
Binge watching TV.
Watching TV. There you go. That's number 3. So you got 2 and 3 of the 6 answers. All right.
God, I can't think of it.
You've got him thinking. He even stopped shining the shoe right there.
Oh no.
Is there like a lifeline option?
Yeah, I looked at the rule book. There wasn't.
Shining shoes all day.
Good answer. But no. Levi, you can steal if you want. I mean, there's only bragging rights that you'll win, but
I
You got one
I
more?
gotta say it. Being with, I would say a
Levi.
girl, but a member of the opposite sex or a loved one or something's got to be on that list, right?
No, actually,
It's
It's
not.
not.
it's not. I thought it would be. I really thought it would be.
Levi, I would have put that, but I'm a single man, so
Well, I mean,
Fair enough.
whoever's answering these questions just doesn't have a very good life. Then, I mean, come on.
I think so. I mean, where do they go for these?
it'd be a little, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
leave it to me to ruin the family friendliness of the show, I guess.
No.
Nah, you're good.
How else do you get the family?
You have a point. You have a point. Should I read off the answers then, or do you want to give it one more shot?
Go for it.
All right. So the first answer was bad weather. Then the second answer was sickness. You said Rona. Third answer was watching TV. Fourth answer was day off. Fifth answer was weight repairman. I'm not sure what exactly. Yeah, I'll show you the scoreboard in a little bit. And the last answer is too tired.
Which I
Okay.
was gonna.
This
give
sounds like
the whole
someone who doesn't have a
hungover thing to that,
job.
There's
I
some
know,
weak
it's like
there's some weak people on there.
It's like the
Yeah,
that's
too
like the
surveyed
survey
a
of
lot of
college kids or something.
Poor weather and too tired. That's
I'm gonna start ranting on y'all like about like the state of like young people in our nation and being lazy. I will get riled up.
Dude, I actually have a podcast ready written up for that. Um, it's not a rant, but it could be considered a rant junior if there was a thing.
Yeah, I would go off on that because we got some thin-skinned people in our generation, and they wonder why they're like broke, depressed. No, what? Don't get me started. We'll save this for another day.
I will only add one thing to that: poor parenting.
Oh yeah.
No, I'll end it at that. But yeah, I agree. I was actually gonna write a little book thing a couple years ago with a friend of mine called the Downward Spiral of America's Youth, and I was gonna go in huge detail, and then my hard drive crashed and I lost everything. So I shelved that idea for later. But yeah,
You should do it, man.
I might turn it into a podcast form and release it in a mini series.
There you go. It's a good idea.
All right. So, question on what you're doing. How long do you spend doing that portion?
As long as it takes to get a mirror shine, which we're getting there.
Okay.
Actually, the front,
What is the average?
the 20 minutes. I've gotten it down to 5 before. Like the other day, whatever I did it perfectly right, and I got a mirror shine in 5 minutes, and I was just like, oh baby.
How?
How? Do anything 500 times and you'll figure it out.
Okay.
Look, like people
I was just
Caleb, you must be just like naturally good at shoe shining. I'm like, if anyone spent the same amount of hours I did doing anything, you would become very, very good at it.
well, that whole naturally
There you go.
good at something thing irritates me. Because there's natural talent, but anybody who's become a professional anything or an expert in their field of anything, it's not just because they were good at it and they were lazy and it just happens. There's always discipline, there's always direction, there's always practice. So that whole you're just naturally good at something. So Caleb's ran on laziness of today's generation. That would be mine. That irritates me. The whole you're lucky, you're good at it. It's the same thing as saying somebody's lucky because they have a six-pack. Well, no, they put the time, they put the work in. You're just not on the same level.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, some people have a natural aptitude for certain things. Like, I think of certain musicians, and maybe they had a natural inclination to be good at something, but they still practiced a ton.
Right.
And maybe it was easier to get to their level than someone else, but
there's it's not just right.
Oh yeah, that's actually a pretty good mirror shine. Okay, here. I probably didn't explain this well enough as I was doing it, but I'll show you the final.
Sure.
So there we go. We got before and after. These shoes are pretty destroyed, honestly, which is why you can see all this cracking here. So it's pretty hard to get a good mirror shot, but we didn't do bad. We did pretty good. So, and this is one I haven't done yet. Pretty matte shine. Yeah. So flip background.
Pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, it could be better. I'll probably do a little more. Here's a trick. This is the best trick for getting a good mirror shine. Do as well as you can on one day, and then leave it for a day or two. Come back. The reason being is those hard waxes are going to solidify more, and I think more of those solvents are going to evaporate off. So you have like a firmer layer there after a day. And when you come back with just a little bit of wax or a couple more layers of wax, your mirror shine is going to be so much better and so much more clear. Levi's nodding because he knows it's true.
Yeah, and that's something that Justin Fitzpatrick, he owns the J Fitzpatrick Shoes, runs the Shoe Snob blog. That's one of his biggest things is he always says his best shoe shines take 3 days for that exact reason. I mean, it's not always realistic, like with Caleb, what he's doing. You can't take 3-4 days to do a mirror shine when you're doing multiples, but there is something to be said for that, for sure.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll just kind of bake that into my process. Like, I'll have these ready to go one day or most of the way there. And it depends. Like, if someone said they want a light shine on the toe, I'm not going to wait an extra day. But if someone's paid a lot, because my cert, I mean, at least through Kirby, it's not cheap at all. Right. But it's also because there's not a lot of supply. It's simple supply and demand. There's not a lot of people that do what I do. I mean, you can count them on one or two hands. You got me, you got Preston Soto, you got a couple guys up in New York like Greg Park. Yep. And the other gentleman, I don't remember his name. I know his Instagram handle. It's like American Bettina. His name escapes me at the moment. But anyway, if someone wants that full overhaul on their shoes or that really clear mirror shine, you can't just go to your airport or mall and get that. Obviously, I wholeheartedly recommend that people learn to do it themselves. Well, got some dust in there. Anyway, yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So, any tips or tricks other than what you previously said that you want to give out to the listeners and watchers out there?
Be patient. You can try and rush a mirror shine, but you're always going to end up making it harder on yourself. And one thing I've done so many times is where I have a mirror shine almost there and I take too much wax and then you absolutely torpedo your shine and you almost have to start from square one. It's so aggravating. So don't do that. Just a little bit of wax at a time after you've kind of applied those initial layers. Yeah. What are some other tricks? I don't know, a lot of it's feel. You can watch videos. It's with learning anything, at least with how I learn things. You could watch videos all day on how to do something, but until you actually try it and feel it, because mirror shining a shoe has a certain feel when you're doing it correctly, and it has a certain feel under your fingers when you're doing it wrong, and it's very obvious after you do it a couple times. When you have the right amount of wax on a toe and you start using your chamois and it has this feel, a glide to it, you know you're doing it correctly. But when it still feels rough under your fingers and you can still feel the pores of the leather, that's when you know you're doing it wrong or you didn't put enough wax on. So get out there, get some shoe polish. You don't even need to buy Saphir. I mean, Saphir is great, but if you don't have Allen Edmonds or nicer, it's kind of, you don't need it. I mean, if you have $100 shoes, you don't need to spend $100 on waxes and polishes that are designed for and made in France. Your Cole Haans aren't going to be able to accept like that nutrition from Renovateur or Pomadier cream polish. So just get a good polish. Maybe not Kiwi, but there's other brands out there like there's another brand of wax that's actually pretty dang decent. Where'd it go? I thought I had it. I don't remember what it was. I feel like an idiot. But Jim gave it to me. He uses it. And it's not Saphir, and it's not pure polish. But there's other polishes out there for cheaper if you are budget restricted. So just go out there and get after it and shine your shoes.
Nice. What about you, Levi? Do you have anything you want to throw out there for the kids listening? I know they're not kids, but I usually tend to say kids for no reason.
I would say, again, like what Caleb said, the same thing. I mean, it took me, this is going to make me sound like I've got a handicap, but it took me like a solid year and a half of multiple times a week just sitting with shoes and polish. And just like he said, you find that feel. I mean, that sounds like such a horrible thing. It's like when you ask somebody, like, how did you know somebody was the one for you? And you're like, you just know. I mean, it's not helpful, but that's the truth. Like, you just got to do it. And watch Kirby, watch Preston, watch Caleb, watch some of those Japanese.
Was of me out there.
Huh? Hey man, you got it down. But I mean, and you watch. Like, I enjoy watching some of those Japanese guys do it. And take the technique. And it's all helpful, and they all have their own different little spins on things and how they do it. But you just gotta do it. I mean, sit there and watch it all day. You got to find that. They got to find that feel.